don't know if you noticed that, but when I got down in the chair, I've got a little bit of pain, quite a bit of pain actually, in my hip here. And I've noticed that this pain, if I feel pain in my joints and my bones and stuff like that, which I get from time to time because I'm in my 70s now, I'm not a young fella anymore, and the body is not as able to quickly repair itself as it was when it was younger. And so what a lot of people do when they have these things that are wrong with them, get problems that happen to their bodies, is they go running off to see the NHS or the doctor or whatever. And in my experience, this does not help. And there's often another reason why we're feeling the pain, and what should we do about that? What is the right approach to serious problems that we think we might have with our bodies? What should we do about it? Now, I'm not going to advise you in any medical capacity in this respect. All I'm doing is sharing what I know about it, really, in the case of my own body. Everybody's responsible for their own body, what they do with it. And I wouldn't want to tell anybody what to do with their body. Yet I've had some pretty bad experiences at the hand of the medical establishment. And so I'm very wary of how much trust I put in somebody who says, I can fix your body. I can fix your body. I can fix your mind. I can fix anything about you. Just come, sit down, let the government pay me lots of money and I will fix you. And my experience is that after I've done my own research, if I went to go and see a doctor to talk about the subject of my particular problem, having been on the internet for weeks and months studying this issue with myself to the point where I think, well, I better go and see a doctor. By the time I go to the doctor, I'll know more about my problem than he will ever know about it, because he's only got like a few hours and then he sees, a few minutes and he sees somebody else. And there's so many complexities, things that can happen to you with the body. Diagnosis is a very serious thing, difficult thing. I had skin cancer. I got skin cancer. I knew it was skin cancer. I knew it, just knew it. And I went to the doctor and he looked at it and said, no, it's all right. I went away and I waited and I watched it grow bigger and bigger and bigger until I got to the point where I was like, they can't be right about this. I had to go back and I saw another doctor and they immediately sent me in for a biopsy, and it was cancer and it was malignant. And so it's an example of that you will go, even a person like me will go to a doctor in the end if they need something doing to them. Nature will direct you to do it. Nature will tell you, you have to go. End of story, right? Yet your own mistrust in nature can send you to the doctor too soon, too soon, before you've had a chance to find out, is it really a problem or is something else going on? Now, I want to talk to you about something else, the something else, because although we don't know, we can't know exactly what's going on in the body over time, because these sort of problems happen over great amounts of time. For example, I have had problems with my knees, but I've got no problems with my knees right now. I've had problems where I can't walk on my knees. But generally this is can be associated with bad weather. Yeah. Now, I want to talk to you about the weather and how in the natural order the timing of the weather is associated with our own bodily healing. The healing of our body is associated with the weather, because in the natural order, when it rains, we're not supposed to go out. We're not supposed to get up. We're lying in our warm bed, it's miserable and cold and the rain's falling down there. You're together with your nice wife and your few kids in bed with you all together. You're just going to stay there, play in bed, aren't you, all day while it rains. Okay. Now, this rain time, because the body knows that this time of rain is coming, and it starts the healing process, because it says, okay, we're not going to be using our knee seriously today, or the next day, or the next week, or the next month. It knows. Nature knows what's coming. So now's a good time to run that part of the system down, drop it into recovery mode, and start doing a bit of repairs and maintenance, right? Now I'm going to tell you something about the poisons in the environment and what the body does with those poisons. Okay, so, and how it deals with those poisons if there's too much that it can cope with at any point in time. Now, the world of fast food and junk food and instant food and plastic food and all this bad stuff that you can buy in supermarkets is full of poisons, and the body needs to process these things. And what happens is it processes what it can using the liver and the kidneys and the various organs of the body. What it can't deal with, it puts inside the joints and the bones and stuff like that. That's what it does with it. And when it's got a time where it's not so active, okay, if the body's active and doing stuff, it can't shut down and start processing. It needs to shut down and start processing to process this stuff, this extra poisonous stuff. And it also helps if you don't eat more poisons, so that you know it's not having to process the poisons that you've just eaten at the same time it's trying to process the stuff that's in your joints. Okay. I think you get the idea. Okay, poison processed by the body, can't process it all, goes into the joints. Weather goes a bit bad, time to lie in bed. Now we're going to process the stuff in the joints. Okay, so pain in the joints, right? Because it can't process this without pain, and the pain is also to tell us, don't move that, don't move that, because we're processing it. Yeah, don't do some serious stuff on it. Yeah, we're dealing with it now, because it involves cells. Yeah, removal of stuff. Growth of new cells, perhaps, I don't know, doesn't matter. That part of it doesn't matter. The how doesn't matter. Just the why. Just the understanding of why this might be necessary. And so, the last few days, it's funny weather at the moment in England. You don't know whether it's going to rain or it's going to shine. It's been like this for a long time. And I've had problems earlier on in the month. I had problems with my knees. Now I've got a new one. I've got a problem, real problem, with my left hip joint. My left hip joint. It's very painful and doesn't like to move at all. Doesn't like to walk down the street. Doesn't like to do anything. The other ones are right. And so, if I didn't know what I know about that I'm telling you now, I'd be so fearful about, my God, I'm 70 years old and my hip's failing, I better go to the doctor and see what's wrong with me. Right? Now, I can guarantee if you go in there and see what's wrong with you, they'll find somebody to deal with you. They'll do something bad to you that will stop. They might give you some anti-inflammatories or something like that, which will stop the healing process. It will just make it worse. Yeah. Do something. And ultimately, they'll take your hip joint out and put something else in its place, and then you'll have real problems after that, as soon as they start messing around like that. I have neighbours here who've had hip operations and they're in terrible state. And maybe if they'd stopped eating the stuff that they're eating and went on to a rice and cheese diet like I'm on, they would lose weight, they would lose all the poison they have to process, maybe their bodies would be able to process what's in their joints, and they might, after having some pain in their joints, the pain might go away and their joints might be okay for a while again. Okay. Now, my experience with my other joints, well, it clicks a bit here. I'm old, you know, your joints aren't what they used to be. Yet I do know the difference between like a serious pain in the joint and a joint that's just, you know, hasn't been used enough, not exercised enough. This, what I have in my joint, most people would go to see the doctor. Now, I don't know if I'll make another video, mate, because what normally happens is, as soon as it goes away, I forget about it, and then I don't even remember that I had a problem with my joint. The only thing that reminds me I've got a problem with my joint is if I've got a pain in my joint. And so that's the purpose of the pain, is to say, hang on a minute, you've got a problem in the joint here, we're looking after it, right? Because everything comes out of its opposite. You know, healing comes out of its opposite, pain and brokenness. The joint won't work, it's healing, and now when it's healed, it will work again. It won't work as good as when you were 15 years old. You can't expect that, you know. We know that in the end the body wears out and it's finished. Yeah, anybody who makes 100 years is doing well, yeah. I would say 104, you know, twice 52. 52, the stars in the heaven, you take 52 years to go round the cycle of the equinoxes, and so it now comes back 52 and then 104. So 104 is probably, if you lead a good life and do everything according to nature, you probably live to be 104. But the dog's barking because we don't. You know, I've got residual problems that I've caused myself by years and years and years of bad living, yeah, overconsumption, drinking poisons. The very worst thing you can do is put alcohol into your system. My God, that will kill you. If it doesn't kill you quickly, it could kill you slowly. It'll addle your brains. The interesting thing is that whatever happens to you in life, whatever terrible state you end up in, through drugs and alcohol and womanizing and all the bad things that everybody does, it can all be made good. It can all heal. Now, the process of healing can be painful. You might have to do some suffering over it. Yet, there comes a time in every man's life, even Keith Richards and the like, where they turn around, yeah? Perhaps they meet God. Perhaps they meet God. You know, God says to all the people who are living in abusing themselves with alcohol, He says, God says to them, I never knew you. I never knew you. And if God doesn't know you, you don't know God. That's the end of it. You know, you can't know God. And rightly so, you say, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. You shouldn't believe in anything that you don't know. You shouldn't believe in it. You can only know God. God makes God known to God, because in the end, God is one. God is one, and God has His image in man. Yet God is greater than man, because God is everything in this universe is one. It's all one. There's no division between anything here. And it's all perfect, and it's happening automatically. And the pain in my joint is perfect, it's happening automatically, and all I have to do is trust that and respect it, because I don't need to move it too much. I don't need to go rushing off to my boat. The weather's almost good enough to go to my boat. It's weekend. I should be working on my boat. I cannot say these things. I have to wait until I'm moved, until nature moves me on the great way and takes me to my boat. And it did it last week, and if it's going to do it this week, it'll do it. Otherwise, it won't do it this week. It'll do it next week, or maybe it won't do it next week. You have to trust in this. You have to trust that everything that's happening to you is happening automatically, and it's all perfect. Perfectly good for ourselves, our coupleship, our family, the group that we live amongst, and the nation and the world overall. Now, it's got to be good for all of those things simultaneously. And the overall good of the world comes first. And we are right at the bottom of the chain, but nature will make sure that it can give us the best possible outcome as an individual living in a corrupt world, living in a corrupt society, living in a corrupt nation, living in a corrupt town or an incorrupt town. It might be incorrupt, and the nation might be corrupt. So it might be obeying laws, bad laws made in a different part of the country, yet we are living in the good part. Our neighbours may be good, because why would nature put us with bad? Yet if we misbehave ourselves, we won't find ourselves with the good. We'll find ourselves with the bad, together. Birds of a feather, criminalising together, or socialising together. Now, I don't do too much socialising. This is my form of socialising, because we're all separated now, and it would be too much to bring all the children of light together in one place. Nature doesn't do this. It doesn't do this until maybe the very end, when the Pilgrim Fathers got on the Mayflower and set sail. You know, there's a small gathering of an elite group. Most of them died on the voyage. Yeah. What was left was a purified bunch at the other side. It's important that you watch all these videos. These videos aren't small things where now it's one video, one subject, next day it's some other subjects. These videos are a whole. There's nothing on any of these videos that is duplicated, truly duplicated. And the whole thing, my channel, is all one work, and every video is important. So I don't ask you to subscribe to the channel. I don't need to tell any of you what to do. But I do advise you. If you have any interest in your own well-being and the future of the world, the future of humanity, the future of your family, the future of the nation you live in, and your own eventual destiny after you die, then you should watch every one of these videos, because they've all got something to teach you. I'm 70 years old. You need to learn what I learned in my lifetime, because my lifetime is a sacrifice for all of you, to bring these teachings to you. And it's necessary that you respect that, and you at least watch them all. Some of these videos, they've had 8 views. They've been up for like a year, 2 years. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because to everything there is a season, and these teachings have their season. It's not for me to try to organize what is self-organizing itself, nature. Yet, I do say that each one of you is responsible for your own development. And if you think that you can watch 1 or 2 videos and that's it, it's not so. You need to watch them all, because you need to learn what's in them. Then you can grow from that. You can do your own thing on that. And greater things do you have to do than what I've done here. Greater teachings you have to bring to humanity. Greater things. Because everything is an evolution. It's an evolutionary form. And man is evolving now. We're entering the true age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is when man stops competing, when he starts to cooperate, starts to listen again. And right before the start, there's always the opposite at the end. There's the part of nature that's going down, that's being taken out in war and subterfuge. And there's a part that's rising out of it, like a lotus blossoming from a dirty pool. Okay? And that's who you are. You are that lotus. And it's necessary for you to put the work in. Put the work in. And when you feel like it, only when you feel like it, and what you're drawn to. Yet I have said these words. There's work to be done. Thanks for watching.